Hello, this is Christian Idealism, and today we are going to be starting my new series on the philosophy of time. This is, of course, brought to you by Cal Allender. So first, what is time? Well, time is the flow of change that we all experience every day in our lives. However, given our understanding of physics, much has actually changed in our views of time, especially as it relates to special relativity. And so, what this series will explore, we will be exploring both the philosophical and scientific aspects of time to figure out which view of time is the most probable given our understanding of how reality operates. And so we will go over, this series will cover the following. So, there are three views on nature of time. We have presentism, possibilism, and eternalism. So, presentism, or a theory of time, is that only the present time exists, and that's it. As simple as that. Then we have possibilism, which is that the past and present exists, but that the future doesn't exist. And then finally, we have eternalism, or B theory of time, which is that the past, present, and future all exist at once. So these are the main three views of philosophy of time. And so we're going to look at the foundational aspects. So we will look into what area should be used to explore what is the actual correct view of time. And so some argue that time is a pure philosophical question and that science should be left out of this investigation. However, there are many issues and problems with the sign of reasoning, which we're going to be looking into in a future video. Likewise, others argue that since time is empirical, then it should be tested only by empirical methods, and therefore we should only let science dictate what the correct view of time is, and so we should not let any other method dictate what time is. I'm going to take sort of a middle ground approach and argue that both science and philosophy should be accounted for when we address things, and we also address things like simplicity, and why one should not simply assume a philosophical position to make your interpretation of the science. And so again, we need to let the science and philosophy overlap to kind of discover the truth here. And so, finally, we're going to look into the actual assumption of an observer-independent reality and see if getting rid of this assumption will actually help us get closer to the correct view of time, simply because there might be some internal contradictions, if you know what I mean. But don't worry, we'll get to that in a future video. So, again, we're going into philosophy here, so we will discover the main philosophical arguments for each view of time and take into account things like our intuitions about the world. Then we will talk about science. We'll explore science and especially the theory of special relativity, and see what is the simplest interpretation of special relativity, because there actually are many different interpretations of the view, but there is one interpretation that is the best one, simply because it is the simplest one that can explain all the data without any extra assumptions added on, and so that will be explored as well. And so the goal here is to actually figure out what is the most probable view given the data. And so once we take into account our intuitions, simplicity, special relativity, and philosophy, I will conclude that what I think is the most plausible view of time. And so again, this is a very big area of research, and so this series will only cover the very basics of philosophy of time. However, I hope to show that we can understand the nature of time in a very robust way, and if we want to stick to what's true here. And so, the most plausible view of time is one of the three views I mentioned before. However, I think that there's a different version of one of those views that is superior to all views on philosophy of time. So that will be the final video of my series of what I actually think is the best view of time to take. And so that will be my video. And thank you guys for watching, and have a nice day.